Good evening, gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of DI Conversations. With me this evening, Mr. Rohit Kohli, Managing Director of KTC Travels, India's leading inbound specialist, also dabbles sufficiently in outbound. Mr. Aman Nath, non-hotelier, who runs the Neemrana Hotels group with 18 properties up and coming and doing famously well. Aman is also a historian, a very famous author, and a very popular socialite, if I may say. No, that's not a good word. A very popular social figure.
Public figure.
In Delhi. We all look up to him for his advice on art, heritage, and civilization issues. Mr. Sarabjit Singh, Managing Director, KTC India, one of India's largest transporters, a fleet of 1,200 plus vehicles across buses, luxury cars, etc. Mr. Kapil Kaul, head of CAPA India, consultancy, research agency, specialist, the only specialist, because the others are dabbling in multiple verticals. They are exclusively on aviation and behind the setting up of prestigious projects like the Mopa Airport in Goa. So, aviation, transport, tour operation, hoteliers. Where is India's inbound heading? We gather, that's the general gist. Numbers are picking up. We have yet to touch the 2019 figures in inbound, but we are inching slowly. We have some very critical questions here happening. Kapil tells me, or tells us all, and we all hear this in the newspapers, huge infrastructure development, a lot of airports opening, a lot of airlines connecting, a lot of aircrafts ordered phenomenally, like unheard of anywhere in the West. World's largest aircraft order, first by Air India and then again by Indigo. So, in all this space, where does inbound figure? All this capacity build up, where does it leave inbound? Is there a window for inbound, or is all for Indians, growing affluent Indians?
I think inbound industry has an exceptional opportunity if they understand that what Air India is doing on long haul and ultra long haul, and what Indigo is going to do on long haul. We have currently going to have by about the next 10 years, almost 150 more wide bodies. So you will see most of North America, multiple frequencies, 8-10 points, most of Europe, UK, Australia, Africa, all of operating with the best product, multi-frequencies. They will invest in their brand in these markets and distribution in these markets. So Indigo and Air India combined, I would think that will operate more than 200 aircraft, wide-body aircraft over the next 10 years. Now, if the inbound industry understands that, listen, they're going to go non-stop everywhere with multiple frequency and a good product, it will stimulate traffic. Third, fourth freedom carriers stimulate traffic. Now, if the industry is awake and alert to the situation of what's going to happen, I'm sure there are tremendous opportunities. It's true that most of the Indian carriers will take Indian traffic, and the diaspora traffic in US. Even in diaspora, I think mostly H1B visa and OCIs and who have become citizen travel less. It's these H1B who families transit. So yes, because if flights are getting full, you're still able to get significant yield. I don't think there is any need for them to think differently until government and all of you guys get together and say, let's work together and let's rebuild our inbound. But I don't think anybody's interested. If you're not interested, I don't think airlines will go out of the way. If their flights are full, they're making good money.
Nobody's interested, meaning?
I mean, basically, inbound to me is restricted to trade shows, is restricted primarily to some few micro activities. I don't think we have a larger picture of how to get inbound leisure. Because moment you look at tourism from NRIs and Bangladeshis and Sri Lankans to come, you'll bound to have a growth, and if that growth keeps you happy, that's fine. Look at inbound leisure. I think you have an opportunity if you want to convert inbound leisure working with Indian carriers. That will redefine distribution. That would need some investment, collaboration. But that's going to happen. We have a historic opportunity. Now, the second point of inbound is we don't have a short haul inbound that comes from Middle East, for example, that comes from Southeast Asia. Now, with Indigo bringing these LRs, XLRs, and 321 Neos, so you have the opportunity both for the 6 to 7 hours, with XLRs to go up to 8 hours in some part of Eastern Europe, and these wide bodies which are going to go. So we're going to have a historic opportunity. Now it's a question for the industry to say that, listen, if we are happy with business travelers coming and OCIs and H1B moving, and that's tourism, then good luck to them. If you really want inbound, I don't think India has ever had an opportunity like this that's going to present itself.
What do you say, Sarabjit?
See, what he's saying, Kapil has said just now, that you have an opportunity because of flights coming in and connectivity and new aircraft flying all over. The basic thing is that India is not being marketed for the last 5 years at all. And even before that, as he said, that we were focusing on certain things only. Whereas scenario has changed, the opportunity is enormous in front of us. It should go all across the globe. We should not be restricting our exercise of marketing and promotion to certain areas.
But tell me, in your own business, say if you look back 10 years ago, what was the size of your fleet at that time?
In transport segment, we had about 160 vehicles.
And how many do you have today?
Around 1,200.
In 10 years' time, you've almost grown 10 times.
I think there is difference because 4 or 5 years ago we changed our line completely.
No, that's different.
That's the reason.
But that I'm talking of KTC.
Yeah.
That is the kind of numbers we are looking at.
Yes.
Now, 10 years ago, out of your total business, how much of it was inbound?
40% was inbound or 50%. 50%.
50% was inbound. Today, what percentage out of those 1,200 vehicles is your inbound?
Around 5%.
Yeah.
Well, because the other things have grown so much.
So now that also brings me to the other question which you were talking about, the verticals of travel and tourism, and you're talking about the seriousness of endeavor in terms of inbound. Our understanding of inbound has also shaped or evolved in the last 10, 15 years. It's shaped, like, for instance, if you talked earlier as inbound as only leisure groups that were coming, we are now also saying medical is also inbound.
I don't agree with that at all.
No, but
I don't agree with medical tourism is
you
inbound.
don't agree.
No.
So you want to be the Puritan that inbound for you is leisure and group driven, or even FITs coming
No,
through?
even incentive groups,
Or
even conferences, I will categorize as inbound. Medical tourism is not tourism. Somebody coming for a surgery is not a tourist. He's spending most of his time in a hospital.
If there is an extension of his visit,
But you see, that's only possible if it's an elective procedure,
yeah.
which is dental or which is something. Somebody coming for a knee replacement, hip replacement, they cannot. There's no
it's a serious
tourism.
matter.
No, I'm saying if they stay back for the recovery.
Hardly ever happens.
No, that's a
It doesn't
different issue.
happen. It doesn't happen.
Could be
So-
You
cost.
see, from the government point of view, when you are talking about foreigners traveling or coming into India where the foreign exchange is being paid, that is what is they are collecting. That
Fair
is the
enough.
only data available, and we have to go by that only. Under that, medical tourism or anybody whosoever is coming in now.
Or even if they're coming
mentioned
for
about-
sports tourism, if somebody is coming to watch an IPL.
Naveen,
ਹਾਂਜੀ.
I mentioned about 5% tourism, but rest of the 95% contains more than 60% foreigners only,
How?
who are coming through the government, trade delegations, government
Conferences,
delegations, then the
yeah.
corporate, then other businesses. So that all is coming. Now, when we are talking about, I just want to pick up from that. If the airline industry is growing that fast, and hotels are coming up all over the country, infrastructure is coming up, we have seen a major gap in the fleet, luxury fleet available in India at G20 summit. The government of India needed X number of luxury cars, X number of vans, which were not available in the country, whole of the country.
So how did you manage?
Not we. We told the government to talk to the car manufacturers. Hyundai provided 85 cars for the heads of states, and these were brought in.
No, from their India
From
inventory?
Korea, these cars came in only for this purpose, and then
they went back, or?
yeah, went back, and then Mercedes and BMW cars, 150 cars were provided by them, and for the vans, instead of taking luxury vans, they compromised and brought it down to Tempo Traveler Indian.
So are you saying that if we are going to see any influx of foreign tourists, or even the growth of travel and tourism industry in the country, we will have to look at more transport?
I'm linking it with all tourism infrastructure and their to manage the staff and the workforce. So everything is required. It cannot be that you are working double to increase the air.
Right. So there will have to be corresponding increases in infrastructure. Capacity building has to be uniform across.
Even hotels during G20, we have seen the hotels were not available.
Yes.
And even government foreigners, they curtailed their total
Delegations, yeah.
just because of this.
Aman, you mentioned in another context that some 90% of your occupancy at a premier location like Neemrana Fort Palace at Neemrana is moved to the Indian segment.
Yeah, but now
So now, do you have the need at all to promote yourself to the foreigner, because your capacity is already utilized, unless you want to build another 200 rooms, which is not possible in your case?
no, actually, Neemrana never hankered after the foreign tourists. We just did a product, and whoever was ready to pay the price, we were happy with them, because I don't think we should discriminate. Many hotels did discriminate. They said we don't want foreigners and Indians because they have a certain behavior, they create more trouble, they want more room service. But we were not, shall I say, anti-Indian from the start. You know the product. So earlier, I think the Indian has also changed. Our image of that bad Indian traveler, that kind is going to abroad and earning a bad name for India. But that is their evolution process, So
I think the children are also educated, more exposed.
yes, so they come. We get a lot of young, smart Indians, and earlier you knew almost everybody who came there. When I was there, I used to meet many people. Now I go there, I don't know anybody. I mean, almost anybody. Which is heartening, because people from Gurgaon, they have smart cars, smart baggage, they dress well. Unfortunately, they're all wanting to be, all the ladies wear European clothes, but that's also a cycle. I think you have to go full cycle.
But I must mention here, which we all know, but it's a question of it's striking you or not. You just go to any mall and you see how well dressed every individual is, regardless of his income level.
I agree.
Dressing wise, they're all, you can't make out that he's earning this or that.
No, but it's the normal, because India is now tailored to the world. So whether it's export surplus or our own capacity, we should be well dressed.
Rohit, you would like to comment on inbound specifically? Are you experiencing any difficulty in terms of rooms, transport? How's your business doing?
So I'm going to start by respectfully disagreeing with Kapil, because he said something that if the industry was interested, it's not up to the industry. As Sarabjit Singh said, the problem is that we don't have any support. Right now, there is no reputation management of India. Forget reputation management. Forget marketing. We haven't reached the stage of marketing yet. Today, the narrative about India globally is not great. Okay, whether it comes to pollution, whether it comes to riots, whether it comes to crime against women, whether it comes to all of this.
I thought we had got over a lot of it.
No, you see, where have we got over it? We have got over it in the major news outlets, i.e. CNN, BBC, etc. But the common traveler is not watching those outlets. The local media today, there was such negative publicity recently about so many different things, and we all got glimpse of it in our own. And it's impossible for a government to manage. I'm not suggesting that a government needs to go and censor foreign media. It's not possible. But we need to counter that with positive news. We need to have the Incredible India campaign, while it lasted, was great.
It was fantastic.
It made an impact. Even today, people
Remember
say
that.
Incredible India. Even though that campaign is long gone.
Rohit, I just don't understand this. But if you talk about Incredible India, India was very different. The experience was different that time. And Incredible India could have made sense 15, 20 years back. When you are such a large country where the dynamics that you talked about, pollution, congestion, crime against women, it's a natural byproduct of a
Numbers.
economy growing and
Fair
becoming
enough,
bigger.
Kapil.
So
I
you
understand
cannot-
that.
no, my
You
point
understand
my point is that
But when you-
Incredible India was at a time when that could be communicated the way Incredible India got communicated. But today, what you require is not Incredible India.
No, I'm not
You
saying.
have to-
I'm saying we require marketing
what do
of
you
some
think,
form.
in your opinion, is required?
No, my first question is whether we want it or not.
Who's the we?
We means as an industry or
No, so
I
that
We
include
want
that.
what?
Do we want the kind of inbound that you are aspiring for?
Why not?
But I don't see action on that.
No.
I mean, I
again,
have to be
you
frank
want
with you, Rohit.
and not happening is two
Rohit,
different things.
we are
No,
attending to.
you're talking top of the line.
I'm talking across the board. You see,
My-
let me tell you, when you cast the net, i.e. a campaign, you're going to get all kinds of people attracted to the country.
My
Anyone-
sense is that as far as India is concerned in its totality, the story between the top 6 metros and the rest of our tier 2 or tier 3 cities is slightly different. In rest of India, there is no, or I wouldn't say no, but I think the need to get foreign tourists has come down because the Indian traveler has by and large taken care of.
No, but I
I'll
want to add one thing. I don't think that the people who come here to our properties, they're really charmed, not just with Neemrana, but with their travel with India. So that narrative has changed,
No,
See, all that is
I'm
right.
also saying the same thing, but in a city like Delhi, for instance, Delhi for 5-star hotels is not a tourist city.
No, it's not.
For Indian travelers, Delhi
we
is
have
not
made-
a
we have
tourist
made-
city.
But that has
It's
never
a
been.
need-based.
It's never been.
So it's a need-based.
Metro cities have never survived on
metro
inbound.
cities like Pullman and Aerocity hotels, for instance, which are large format hotels, they are not
So
going
I am
ahead.
not even talking
Their
about
occupancy
metros.
is also like 10,000-12,000 rupees or something.
More.
नहीं, 10-12 से ज़्यादा नहीं। But they are significantly lower than what you see in Dehradun or
Mr. Berry, I want to just place 2 things. I've been
Sorry?
speaking this for a while. First of all, I don't think we have the architecture to build inbound tourism. It's coming on its own. Our campaigns and what we require are different. We don't have that know-how. We're not set up to succeed. And it's not a blame of the government. It's just everything. If we think these trade associations can build tourism,
No.
then I think we are on a wrong.
But that's not their role either, Kapil.
But that's what is
No,
right now.
that's not the role of trade associations.
No, but
Trade
it's all
associations
centralized.
Trade associations is member, that is trade.
Trade association members are in the distribution business
Correct.
of inbound.
Let me tell you, I have been saying this for
But-
25 years.
But they
Today,
are
inbound has grown in this country despite government.
that's,
The inbound tourism in this
that
country
we can say about
has been
IT
a
also,
Pure,
that
has been a
happens.
pure play. No, IT has got a lot of support.
Okay.
Has been a pure play of the private sector.
Okay, so
Whether
let
it's
me-
hotels,
let me ask
tour
you-
operators,
let me
etc.
ask you-
Now
I
there
would
are
like to
lobbies.
say something.
There are lobbies in every.
Here I would like to say something. See, promoting a destination is the government's job,
Sure.
which has not been done properly.
Sure.
We
No, but
have to
I wanted to
accept
ask you one thing.
And now,
Yeah.
for the last 5 years, whatever the reasons are, the promotions and marketing is not been done.
We've gone backwards.
And now there is nothing in the near future visible also that anything is going to be done. Whatever little tourism is coming today, it is all efforts of people like Rohit and others. Otherwise, there's nobody is coming.
Acha, I have a few questions.
Well, I just want to add one
no,
thing.
but-
One quick
questions.
thing. When you are talking, when the Prime Minister multiple times talks about 1T as tourism, I think it should inspire people who are responsible for tourism, especially in the Ministry of Tourism. I don't think that message goes down. I don't think the Prime Minister is going to devise a strategy. He's given a signal.
Kapil.
I don't think that signal is being taken seriously.
Kapil,
I
that's
don't
not the
think-
reality. Kapil, that's not the
I
reality.
don't
The
agree.
reality is very different.
Yeah.
It's what you're saying is theoretical. Somebody has to take a call.
Who?
Somebody in the government. Now, whether it's the
No,
Prime
but if
Minister
the Prime
or
Minister gives this is a disconnect.
somebody has to.
If
Somebody
the
has to.
Prime
no, no.
Minister gives
Then-
a call that we want tourism,
Then it will
the
happen.
tourism ministry
Then it will happen.
must
Let me-
engage in that manner.
But then will never happen. That
So
call
that
has
doesn't
not
happen.
come.
Let me.
The T for tourism happened once in the
Then we are
campaign. and that's
there-
it.
No, I think he regularly talks about tourism.
No, let me put a lead on it. Without making it into the
Political
larger
context, yeah,
issue of controversial or whatever. I have often felt, because the Prime Minister has spoken not once,
Multiple
several
times.
times.
Sure.
He has come up with some very innovative ideas.
And
Like we
biggest
talked
thumbs
about
up to
in the next 3
promoting
years, how
tourism, yes.
everybody can take 21 trips.
Yeah.
I didn't see a single promotion or an ad coming from any domestic tour operator or from a hotel saying, come repeatedly and you will get this.
But Mr.
There
Berry,
is no
I mean,
follow-up
sorry,
from the
I'm
industry.
No, but
taking
what
too
about
much.
online,
No, one
you
second,
know?
one second.
I think-
we're digressing this a bit. Prime Minister is the biggest champion of your tourism.
Absolutely.
And whether it's domestic, he asks weddings to come here, he gives the message. Who has to take that message
The trade.
to trade as well as government? Then somebody has to answer, why is the marketing budget slashed to almost zero?
Correct.
If the Prime Minister is advocating tourism as one of the strategic pillars of our economy, somebody has to answer that why the tourism budgets have been slashed.
right picture here.
Why are we not recasting tourism?
see,
It's not Prime Minister's
Minister
job.
is
Prime
asked-
Minister's done his job.
No one's suggesting it's the Prime Minister's job.
He has done the job. He's inspiring you.
But do you think the budget has been slashed to zero
Yeah.
and nobody in the Prime Minister's office is aware of that?
No, it's
Of course they are, right?
No, I'm sorry.
So there's a mismatch in what they want to do.
Mismatch is what? Mismatch is that when let's say when Tata's took over Air India, right? Tata's took over Air India. There are certain things that happened because it was the largest, the biggest the reform that the government took. 60,000 crores of the debts were taken off out of the balance sheet. They make it about 10,000. This is the biggest call. Somebody who did that transaction understood the value of the transaction. Now tell me, when the Prime Minister says, I want to promote tourism, he advocates it, and the budgets get slashed to almost nothing. Why aren't you heard?
That's the question.
Why is an airport
That's-
why is an airport group or an airline group heard?
That is
If
the
you are
reason.
not heard, then you have to say
Kapil,
that,
that is the
who's going
reason,
to,
because
who will,
No, so
Prime
what you are
Minister,
saying-
I will tell you whatever little I am told. If it goes to him or through the ministries in the right manner, this will almost change dramatically.
I agree with you.
But why are you not heard?
Okay.
So we need to lobby together, is what you're
so
saying.
I'm
yeah?
Waiting for to put it right
I
here.
want to come back to the basic question. This was an aberration, so to say. In this whole growth in aviation, are we going to see new gateways, international gateways?
I think the growth will be pegged around third, fourth freedom carriers.
No, will we see new gateways?
Of course, you will see at Bangalore, 6 metros, Ahmedabad.
No, ये तो 6 हो ही गए. What about new gateways?
I'm not sure in the next, you will see
Are we going to see an Indore or a Nagpur or a Bangalore?
regional internet, because you don't need, every airport cannot afford a long haul flight. You have to concentrate
When
it
you
around
keep
6, 7
saying-
places.
When you keep saying USA, we are going to be in the same league some years to come. USA has what, 11, 13 major international gateways?
I think India would go up to 10.
We will go up to 10.
And then you
USA
take
is
from
big.
SFO.
In size,
Hey,
yes, yes.
if you take it to SFO, Air India's 2 flights now. Once the Russian war is over, then United will come. I see from Delhi and Bombay, multiple frequencies.
No,
to
Delhi,
New-
Bombay is a given.
Even Bangalore, you will see Hyderabad, New York, you will see
These are
Hyderabad.
still the
SFO.
same metros. I want to see.
I don't think,
no.
I don't think in the next 10 years
You
it
will
will
not see
move
more.
away from 6 cities, and to Ahmedabad maybe, and Cochin perhaps to some extent. But what you will see,
What about, say, a state like Bhubaneswar?
I think they will see regional international flights, and you don't need a long haul for every carrier.
don't.
The economics aren't there.
I think also it's a
makes
size,
sense, like you go to
geographical size
Dubai,
of the country.
like you go to Dubai.
When you say regional, my
Huh.
other question is, and you did somebody did mention earlier, regional tourism is the lowest hanging fruit
Yes,
for additional travel and tourism into the country. Are we tapping it in any way as a tour operator? Are you looking at Singapore, Thailand for your inbound, or are you still looking only at US, UK, Europe?
So before COVID, Asia was about just over 10% of our business. It contributed 10% of our business.
When you
Today,
say Asia, when China also? Japan?
all over Asia. It was a mix of everything. China was very low because we didn't really focus on China. Today, it's under 2%. So we actually took a conscious decision to exit a lot of markets that, for us, and I'm talking purely as a company, for us, were not high yield markets. We have grown today, and we're ahead of pre-COVID, purely because we changed our business model completely. You know, we were always in a certain segment, and as we grew, we started adding on, collecting baggage, so to speak. And not that these markets are baggage, but there is a certain type of way these markets are handled, which some companies do very well. There is going to be a lot of growth out of Asia, I believe. And I think there's more connectivity out of Asia. Singapore Airlines, Thai, etc. are trying for new points.
That's true for you. And are you aware if that is a trend also for general markets?
You see, I think Asia has grown slower since COVID because Asians have not got over their long haul fascination yet. And I'm talking about key source markets. That is Korea, Singapore. I know you have a significant business from Korea. I don't know about the Korean market, and you can tell if you've grown, but they've been slow to come back. Like for example, Japan used to be a significant market for India 10 years ago. Today, it's not even top 10. I'm talking about real tourists. I'm not talking about arrivals.
But their economy has gone down.
But it's not. But they're still rich enough.
No.
It's not that they can't travel. Economy has gone down
No, so
by
what is our role model we have to see? If you look at the whole world, I would say France should be a role model for India, because if their population is 65 million or something, they get 92 million tourists. Now imagine, it's not a comparable thing, but if you got 140 million people,
1.4 billion.
1.4 billion, then imagine if you got 1.5 billion tourists. The thing is that because we have the land, we have 1,200 kilometers of coastline, we got the Himalayas. Now we're talking about 200 airports. So the thing is, even a road, we have a property which is called Hill Fort Kesroli. It is a 700-year-old fort, which did well because it's between Neemrana and Tijara. But an amazing highway has been built, Delhi-Jaipur, with that Bombay highway. You get there in 2 hours, which used to take 4 hours. So it's full all the time because you just get in your car. 2 hours is nothing. You go to the airport and have to wait for 1 hour, 2 hours. That much time you reach there. So I think the government is doing fantastic things.
So what would be your point on low hanging?
I'll answer for a few questions which are not answered. First is, Prime Minister said 1 T is for tourism. And at the same time, he also invited the non-resident Indians to come to India,
Yes.
and also bring their friends, talk
Yes,
about India.
yes.
What happened, the official circle constituted and mistook it, and rather than making more efforts on marketing and promotions abroad, they stopped it completely. There is no marketing, there is zero budget now, and that is the reason what we are looking at. Now, you were talking about this Neemrana, you can reach there in 2 hours. All over India now, because of the express highways and faster trains, you can travel much faster. The problem is that the Indians have already choked all the places.
Oh.
The rates have gone up. The hotels are charging premium prices, and that is the reason you were showing the returns have gone up. The reason is this, that any hotel you pick up all over the country, 90% of them are charging much higher rates than they should be.
So there's complacency within India. Then we don't.
I go to a place
Now,
which is
one more thing. Because at this moment, what I think, we need new tourism destinations, completely new greenfield, like a Dubai, like a Singapore, you're creating completely, because Indians want to travel and they have money. You should make high-end tourism spot for Indians.
No, but there's talk in that
Everything
direction.
new.
We've got 1,400 islands. Some of them are bigger than Singapore.
To be frank with you,
have to look at
Sorry?
it.
when that Maldives controversy
Lux-
Yes.
about Lakshadweep, when I saw that picture, I mean, I don't know how many people thought this is better than Maldives.
Yes, yes.
What did we do after that?
No,
What are we? No. So my point is, I'm again referring, having seen the aviation industry, and I may be biased in my outlook. They create a system and navigate a complex regulatory policy structure
Yes.
within the government and win. Tourism industry, sorry, not ministry. I don't think they have that system to navigate.
Let me flip
Because
this.
only time you go to them is a tour association
I
operator.
definitely agree with you.
But I want to flip this around from
my sense, Rohit, is coming from an era, say when your own father was a critical component of inbound. I don't see any replacements for the likes of him and for the likes of other stalwarts today in inbound in the industry. They are missing. They're not there.
Well, okay, as also a factor, the industry has grown so much that there's no longer figures that dominate.
No, but why not?
No, hold on.
Why
But
not?
I want to flip this
No, why
conversation
not?
about.
Why not? I've seen your father.
One second, hold on.
No, hear me out. I've seen your father, maybe 25, 30 years back, which could be 5 years, 10 years, where you would be at that age. I don't know what your age is. It's the construct whether we
I'm
want.
not 30 years old.
No, I'm just
Thank
saying that. I'm saying that at his age, the influence that he or Mr. Inder Sharma or many others, the Kadgara family, was tremendous. It may be good for us to say we are small, it was easy.
No. Let me tell you one thing. Let me answer. The fact of the matter is, in those days, relationships meant something. There was an approachability. No, let me finish.
I don't agree.
There was an approachability to the Secretary Tourism.
Excuses.
There was an approachability to the Secretary Tourism. There was an approachability to the Ministry
Can I
of
say
Tourism.
one thing?
So,
You
sir,
may not
will
like
agree
it.
with me.
You may not like it.
Let me finish. Yeah?
No, I'll tell you
Let me
before
finish.
you go.
I'm telling you, under his tutelage, I know. Okay, so I have my brother and I have grown up in this environment under these names that you've just taken, right? And we're so fortunate that we've grown out of that era. You think nobody wants to do it? The problem is that today, unfortunately, our industry has become transactional. There was a time when the entire inbound industry would talk to each other, would converse.
No.
Today, there is no communication amongst the industry.
This is wrong. The entire industry, when you represent the government and whoever you are dealing with, the commercial rationale of individual people who are representing, and I'm not saying now or years, overwhelms the government. In your case, or
Correct.
Dad's case,
Correct.
or Mr. Inder Sharma's case, they were talking about inbound. Here we may talk about anything else. We may say industry, other. The other side realizes, and I'll tell you something during COVID,
But what about
which I may
joint
share
lobbying?
with you.
That's
What
what you're
about
coming to.
joint-
That's
I
why
must tell you,
that's why
during-
faith was created. Where is that?
Let me say one thing. During COVID, this question, the tourism ministry will get budgets, not the supply side, just to make the demand side work and get some concessions, extra. It didn't happen. The airlines didn't get it. They just made loans available, extra, but nothing other concession happened. It didn't happen for other industries as well. One of the reasons I was told that, and this may be, I can't qualify this, but I'll tell you, and I said this too at a CII forum, that the trust in the private sector, that the taxpayers' funds, if they go to companies, it will not be used for tourism or aviation or extra. One of the remarks I heard that, listen, we give taxpayers, let's say X $1 million or rupees, part of it will be used to buying a Rolls-Royce car or extra.
Well, that's unfair.
No, that's a fact.
That's their perception.
Let's bring.
Only thing I am saying, just to close, it's very easy for us, if we have to really take tourism ahead or aviation ahead or industry ahead, we need to bring all of these elements on the table. You need to say, why isn't it worked? What was the leadership
I just
barriers?
want to add to
Are
what
you
Kapil
getting
said.
that? Are you getting the traction at the other
Kapil,
end?
I
If you're
would
not
say
getting, what's the
Couple,
new
you're not
system?
wrong, but unfortunately, I say again, that's not
but
the
let
not the
me-
reality.
No, but just one minute.
There's-
But allow me, please.
Right.
What I want to strengthen what Kapil is saying by saying that my sense, and I'm not really in day-to-day touch with people around as much as I was, say, 5 years ago. My sense sitting here is that in the last 2 years, when the business environment has so dramatically changed, firstly, please appreciate where I'm coming from. There is no tourism lobby
No,
in the country.
zero.
There is no tourism lobby. There is no tourism lobby by default. By default meaning there are hoteliers, there are tour operators, there are airline people. If I tell you that an airline person, a very senior person told me, we are not into tourism, we are into travel. And it can't get any bigger than that person. He doesn't think he belongs to the tourism industry. So tourism के लिए कोई बोलने वाला ही नहीं है. Tourism के लिए, I remember we did a very special session on Paryatan se Parivartan, and I had one of his very good friends with me who spoke on tourism. And when at one time he actually said from the stage, "No, I thought you said there will be tourism people. I only see hoteliers." So hoteliers are not tourism people. They lobby for hotels as part of their
Faith is
business
that.
structure.
Faith is
So-
that, everything, but then
Yeah?
faith.
But what is Faith doing?
But
Who?
I don't
No,
know.
so somewhere a tourism lobby is missing from start. Somebody needs to put up
No.
that tourism lobby in place.
Now,
Now,
tourism lobby is missing. Reasons.
no,
See, listen.
there's one minute. Your understanding of tourism has to dramatically change.
As to why
He
then-
is saying medical tourism is not a part of his tourism.
No,
in
it's
the
not
That is
really-
my part. It was my view. I did,
Sorry.
it's my view.
So was
Yeah.
that aviation fellow's view?
But my
That
view-
he's a
my
part of
view is
travel
my
is
view.
No,
Could be
if
somebody
you
else's
see a lot
view.
of Afghans in a hospital, it doesn't mean tourism, you know, and actually.
And that's medical travel.
And
But-
no, and
but
they're
then-
actually saving money to come in. They don't have
Agreed,
extra money
but-
to roam
but-
around.
But I must
Fact
tell
of
you
the
that
matter-
if it is easy that you're showing a double-digit growth of tourism, which is compensated by medical or business or
Everything,
OCIs,
yeah.
there is no need for you
Let-
to do
let me-
anything
let me-
else
let me-
because you're already doing double, and if that
No,
keeps
but-
you
but-
happy, that's
but
good.
let me complete.
But we should dream bigger than
No,
that.
one just
No,
last
of
point.
course. But that would mean
Kapil, what-
just 1 second, and I had this issue. We prepared something on inbound. We put everything on the table. We wanted to have an honest conversation. The industry is not prepared to do an honest conversation. And if the industry is not prepared to
true.
do
No,
an honest
That's a
conversation,
fact. I
let me
know
tell
it-
you.
I know for a fact.
That's not true.
I was privy to it.
I was telling industry is not willing
I
to
was
do a
privy
private,
to that situation.
honest conversation. You can't change. But I'll tell you one more thing. If today you ask the ministry that if the budgets are slashed after the Prime Minister who is inspiring you all the time for tourism, your budgets have been slashed. Can you be accountable to the industry? We are respectfully saying it's a national interest, I say, that why have you slashed the budget? Who's going to answer?
Okay.
No, but you need people
And
to
last
say
thing I'll
this.
tell you, because it's on record.
I
No,
personally
1 second.
went and had the Rajasthan tourism budget doubled.
So-
but you need people to who.
But
go,
I'll tell you, if this government, and I'll say this to you on record, if you could do a transaction like Air India and shave off 60,000 crores of the balance sheet,
They understood what.
big bold
yeah.
decision. This government takes big bold decisions. Unfortunately, in the tourism industry, nobody counts to the level so that these big decisions can be taken.
No, because the
That's what I
tourism
would say.
minister
Okay.
should be
So-
treated like the
so-
finance minister. You know, in
Okay,
France.
so now let me come to. We'll carry on in this and we will split it at some point. I have one more question which Aman touched upon briefly about the 1,000 types of rotis available and the moving away from the croissant and how the Indian is also looking at.
But that's a great point.
That's a great point.
It's
Absolutely
happening.
great
It's a
point.
great
Honestly,
point.
it's happening.
It's a great point, and that's where I want to come to. that when we are going to promote Indian inbound,
Yes.
how much uniqueness of the Indian product is being put together and packaged as an Indian unique tourism product to the world at large, even by an individual tour operator or by a hotelier.
Let me answer that.
How much of it is still moving around Scotch whiskey?
Can I,
is moving around-
Mr. Berry, is a great question. I'll explain. One of my colleagues came from Sydney, and I'll just give you an anecdote so that it reflects that India is an intellectual adventure. He's in Canberra, and he was not a colleague. He was working for Australian aviation industry. Came, in Canberra, 5 o'clock. Everything shuts. Yep. He travelled in an auto for most of the time. He said, "I like that noise. This is vibrancy." He goes and he went for a Holi. He was astonished. So the color of India, the cuisine, the culture, heritage.
There's
extra-
nothing to hide.
This is so fabulous.
This is
That's the
exactly what I was
uniqueness.
going to say.
So-
that
Foreigners love it, but we may
No,
present
but
them
let me
back.
tell you, I
But
say
in a-
this around the world.
with
I've been saying
infrastructure
this
that
forever.
counts.
India does not need any tweaking on the experience. India is a very honest destination. We have experiences made for tourists, but we don't have the culture of hospitality made for tourists. We are great at that. We are great at giving a great experience to
A real
anyone
experience.
who visits. Auto rickshaw is not a tourist experience. You know, a Holi, yes, it's
but-
like somewhat
but
it's
the
somewhat
tourism-
embellished.
no, but auto
It's
Tourists
somewhat
wants
embellished.
to, some of the guys want to embrace the city, embrace the culture.
Not some, a couple. Everybody wants to.
So-
Now you want to
And
be
I
in the
went to
cocoon
Agra.
of
My
a
brother
luxury
came from
hotel.
US.
You
My
wanna-
brother Utpal came from US last year. In June, he wanted to show his son to Agra. It was horrifyingly hot. There were some Indians, but there were Japanese, Americans in that heat, which I thought they will get burned. When they went inside the first look, and I talked to a few of them, he said, "There's nothing like it.
Yeah, no, I
There's
know.
nothing like it." Obviously, when you go outside,
And the quality of
you
an
could-
Indian
there's
when
lot
they
has
meet
been done,
people,
but
they
lot
say,
more
"Wow."
you can do it for
Question
experience.
is, are we sorry, you were saying something?
I am saying, see, whatever we are talking about, we are actually not going in the right direction. It is tourism export which government is concerned about. And tourism export is very clearly whatever brings in foreign exchange. And that encompasses all the segments, be it MICE, medical tourism,
Sure,
and
sure.
corporate, everything is included in that. And that we have to work on that. If we start doing only tourism or only this thing, it's not going to work. The only thing is that the government to wake up the government, because even after Prime Minister's one of the T's for tourism, we are not getting any funding. That clearly shows Ministry of Tourism is lacking somewhere to put forward their demand.
This you are referring to inbound.
Inbound. I'm talking about
But-
inbound.
but-
He's talking about destination promotion.
I'm talking about inbound only. Just 1 minute. Now, in case you want to do this, then you have to work out a proper, complete strategy to do it. And how we were doing, there are certain things in the past which we have done, which will be continuing in the new strategy also. But other things we have to change completely, drastically, and start promotions all over the world and start getting business. There is lot of business which can come in. Government has set export target of $2 trillion in 2030. 5.5% was the tourism exports figures of 2019. So by that ratio, it becomes $110 billion in 2030. Is it achievable? Of course, yes. If everything works together. Aviation sector, he's talking about that nobody is coming forward. I know nobody came forward, but when we were going to aviation for support, they never provided support. I have had a meeting with 50 odd airlines with the Minister of Tourism sitting there. They agreed to certain things and nobody fulfilled thereafter. The only thing is how to do it. I know it exactly how it can be done. It can be brought. They can be brought to table. But things.
So we have now just a few minutes to go to wrap up. One quick question: who's going to bell the cat for inbound tourism?
I think if the
I
industry,
can bell the cat, provided somebody is there ready to listen.
To listen.
I think the entire industry in one voice must create a new leadership.
Must create
Leadership, and the first leadership's job should be to create a task force, get people like Mr. Amitabh Kant on picture, create a enabling task force.
So industry
Yes.
needs to come forward,
Yes.
even if we have to convince the government.
Yes.
It's in the industry voice that has to come forward.
The problem right
And
now,
I think you should call it Project Destination India, because it's something we understand and that is the mission.
The basic thing is that we have to come out with some strategy on this.
Absolutely.
It cannot be.
Rohit,
the problem right now is
Project
that
Destination India.
the problem right now is that our industry voice is so fragmented. Kapil was talking about, it's true. Ministry tells us also, we don't know who to listen to.
Yeah.
There are 50 associations going, saying 50 different
But
things.
there is faith.
24 associations.
No, but faith has
sitting in
become-
Correct.
last
You know, you
meeting.
talked about airline not considering himself tourism. They're not tourism. And airline is a factor of transportation.
Yeah.
They're not tourism. They are enablers. They enable. It's part of the infrastructure. Okay. In some countries of the world where an airline, i.e., Singapore Airlines or Emirates and all, which are the true national carriers, and they are the big hub and spoke model for aviation. They're big stakeholders in a country like India. Look at America. In America, which airline is considered a tourism part? They come under the Department of Transportation. It's a Department of Transportation. I think we don't even need a tourism
But
ministry in this country.
Again,
should.
Again, that's not correct, because
We
let me say to you, airlines are in transport business, but airlines want business traveler. They have 100 people in the corporate
Again,
scene.
we're talking about commercials. I'm talking about let's talk about tourism. Okay, I think quite frankly, we need to not have a tourism ministry at all. We should come under the Ministry of Commerce, and tourism should be considered an economic activity that is important to the GDP and foreign exchange earning of this country, and somebody with authority in the cabinet needs to be responsible.
It should be taken very seriously
Yes, that's
because
it. That's
if we were providing 30% of the revenue to the economy, the tourism minister or the commerce minister would be here because his rating will
Of
be
course.
that.
Of course.
All exports are under Commerce Ministry. They are promoting each and every export from the country, barring tourism.
So where would you rank the tourism minister in India? On the lower
Tourism ministry is
at the lower side. So
not
it should be
visible at all.
put
But-
right up
Well,
there.
I don't think it's a personality or individual
No,
business.
no, but I'm
In-
just saying
in
importance.
It's a ministry itself.
as a unit,
Yeah.
the tourism ministry is not taken seriously because by itself it has no authority
That's what I'm
to do
saying.
anything of
If
significance.
you have to prioritize it in the first 5, then people should listen.
So,
But they
so
should.
let me conclude with your permission to say that we are all very optimistic
Yes.
about travel and tourism in the country. We want some more cohesive action building, some more cohesive marketing plans, more identification of the tourism product, how to make it more uniquely Indian, and industry, as Kapil said and you also said, we need stronger push
Yep.
for inbound to make it work.
And if we all put our best foot forward,
Yes.
we'll be marching.
We'll be there for the new India to take shape as a tourist destination. So, Project Destination India is on the anvil. We are all looking forward to it. Thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.